everyone, it is me, Mary, and I am here today with an amazing deal for you. Yes, it is going to be great, great, great. Okay guys, so this video is going to be on how to save money and kind of get some nice fashion, some good items to go back to school, and also just for personal use or throughout the school. My kids and we have kind of picky taste when it comes to shoes, okay? There's a big thing, and I'm just letting you know, I am the kind of person who would probably drop more money into some Jordans than I would into some heels. That's just who I am. I like heels, but you better bet I like to have some nice tennis shoes on my feet. Okay, that is more my style. So if you know anything about shoes like that, they can cost a lot of money. So how can we get the shoes that we would like to have, the styles that we're comfortable with, and be able to achieve this without breaking our budget or just feeling really bad and not being able to do it? There are times when we cannot afford to give our kids everything we want, and that's just life. There are times when we can't afford to get what we want. However, if you can utilize some of these tactics that I'm going to share with you, I can find at times that it's just as easy to get certain types of shoes that, kids may like, of a different brand. You can get them the same price, if not cheaper at times, than getting shoes like at Payless, because if you're starting to see, Payless is getting a little bit expensive, and even if you're getting tennis shoes at Walmart, sometimes their tennis shoes are like 25 bucks. So if you can get the different types of brands that may be more your preference or more your style base at the same price or less than what you would pay at Target, Walmart, or Payless, it may work out better for you. So let me share with you some of the tips that I have to save money and have the items that you may prefer or may be the best to fit your needs, okay guys, especially going back to school. So here are some tips of mine to you. One of the biggest tips that I have is considering where you're shopping, okay? So if you go into the mall and you go into Foot Locker, you're going to be like, wow, this is $120 for a pair of Nikes. That's a little ridiculous. Now, even if you have the money to spend on $100 on a pair of Nikes, what could you spend that $120 on? I mean, seriously, there's so much that we could do with that money and even have the opportunity to utilize it in more positive endeavors to potentially pay it back to people, or pay forward, I guess you would say, would be the better way to say that. Of course, we all want to spoil ourselves from time to time if we can. However, $120 goes a long way in food at times. So what can we do to get that same pair of shoes that we would like to have? Well, number one, as I mentioned, consider where you're shopping. So if you go into the mall, expect to find mall prices. However, you can also find discounted prices at the mall. So say that you find something on clearance for 50% markdown. That may be a good deal. However, I would like to challenge you to think about other types of facilities that you can find shoes at even cheaper than the reduced rate. Because at times, the reduced rate in the retailer, like Foot Locker, could be a lot more expensive than going to a discount facility. So one option would be, though, if you're really set on going to Foot Locker, is becoming a part of their program, okay? Seeing if they have any membership type ideas or plans that you can go ahead and get a coupon for. Sometimes they have like a 20% off your first purchase, but you have to wonder about, can you use that with items on clearance? So that is always a deal. We get from time to time from Olympia Sports the coupons in the mail, so you can always look at things like that if you're wanting to go to those types of retailers. My next idea would be to go to places like Martin's. If you have a Martin's and you're in New England, it is a store that is a discount store. So you'll have a lot of things that sort of like overstock, and then they will send them to that store and they will bring them to you at a reduced rate. So I would challenge you, instead of going directly to Foot Locker, to go to a store like Martin's to be able to check out to see what can I get. The same thing goes for a store like Ross, because from time to time you can find great deals on different types of shoes at those stores at a highly reduced rate. So that's always a great tip as well. In addition to that, something that I would like to challenge you with is an outlet store. So say that you have, back home we have Tanger outlets. I love Tanger outlets. However, I want you to understand that just because you're going to an outlet doesn't mean that you're getting the best prices, okay? a case in point, Skechers at the outlet. We went to Merrimack, New Hampshire. The Skechers store, the prices are outrageous, okay? So that's not going to be something that I'm going to consider. Reebok, on the other hand, is still kind of savings, but it's not the best. Where are some of the best savings at these types of outlets? I'm going to tell you from my perspective and what I've seen. The Nike outlet has some great deals on shoes, okay? So you can definitely find some great shoes on a outlet price, all right? So that would be one as well. In addition to that, a place that I think has amazing deals is Puma. Every time I go into Puma, I find the best shoes at a highly reduced rate. So once again, we're having to select the types of stores that we're going to and aligning them with our needs or our style. So let me share with you a pair of shoes that I got for my son here recently at Puma, which are very, very nice shoes. They were originally 70 plus, so I got them at a highly reduced rate. And I'm just going to show you the quality of the shoe here. And I got this at Merrimack, New Hampshire. So as we see, they're brand new. They're not used shoes. They haven't been, you know, worn or returned by anyone. So absolutely beautiful shoe here. It is Puma. It's a brand that he likes. It's very sleek. It's to his liking. And this is a very nice shoe, guys. So you're probably wondering, like, 70 bucks right now. I paid $24 for these. So I went and I looked at Walmart the other day and I found a pair of And One shoes, which are really cute. And they were $24.99. So basically the same price here, And One versus Puma. I like them both. However, I really think that this shoe, since it does fit what he likes, I was very excited to be able to get this for 24 bucks. Great deal there, guys. Now, something I want you to understand is that you cannot return these types of shoes online. So if you purchase them at an outlet like that, you have to take them back to the store. For me, seeing as how I live in Maine and that's all the way in New Hampshire, that would be a problem. So please make sure that you try the shoes on before you leave, okay? Something else that I would like to say that is very, very good and a great way to find shoes is look up liquidation centers in your area. There are times to where we can find shoe liquidators or individuals or facilities that have a separate store just for their actual shoes. So here we had an Olympia store, and this Olympia store has some great shoes that are marked down. It is purely their liquidation area. This is not the Olympia store. So I thought, okay, well, what's a great way to find some school shoes for my daughter? Well, what would I do? Would I rather go to Olympia and use the 20% off coupon, and that is at face value of $120, or would I rather go to a liquidation center and utilize their savings? So it would be more beneficial to go to a liquidation center. So something I want you to know when you're dealing with girls or with teenagers or whatever it is, when you're getting into people who are using women's sizes are going to cost more than children's sizes, okay? So if you have a women's 9, say that you have a women's size 9, you could probably go to a boy's size 7. So you'd have to try it on. But a woman's size 9 is immediately going to cost a lot more than a boy's size. So even for sports, basketball, baseball, whatever it is that your daughter plays, soccer, getting the cleats out of a women's size going to a boy's size is immediately going to save you money. Okay, that's a number one. Number two, utilizing these types of stores is a great benefit. So I have a pair of shoes that we found, and these were initially for adults $90, okay? So very expensive shoes. However, we could find these, and these are actually for me, but it's okay. So I could find these right here, and these are Nike, the Force shoes, which are just like, yeah, hot shoes to me. This is my style, guys. Okay, so these are in boys for a size 7. So we went from $90 down to $60 immediately. However, that was the Olympia regular price there. These were brought down even more because it was a liquidation store down to $40. However, on top of that, there was a 30% off discount for all of the shoes in the entire store. So this made these shoes right here $28. So $28 from $90, I think is a great deal, guys. So you can find shoes that are going to leave your kids feeling really fashionable. Get shoes for you that you need. However you want to work it, you can find great deals. Something I do want you to know about, though, if your children are really into Jordans, because I have a lot of experience with Jordans, is that you can find Jordans, and I'm not talking about a lot of your retros, but you can find Jordans very cheap at the Nike outlet, and I'm saying about $35 to $40. So if you have a pair of $140 Jordans, that's typically that price range. Do not get stuck into buying a $140 pair of Jordans. Wait till you can go to the outlet and find them for $35 to $45. I will not pay more than $50 for a pair of Jordans, and I love them. So I just wanted to bring that tip if your kids are really into Jordans, or if you're into Jordans as well. So that is my tip for the day. I wanted to bring shoe deals because we all have to be concerned with those things. My biggest tip, like I said, is going into a children's size from an adult size. That is only probably going to work with girls, of course, and women, but if you can get into a boy's size, you can save you some money, honey. Alright, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, questions, comments, concerns, leave them below. Bye, guys!